Today's main event is sold out because this week on the Game Marks podcast, we dive into the Japanese port of tag team wrestling, the Big Pro Wrestling. Does this 1983 Technos Arcade game hold up today? Are we going to play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is George Feis. Oh wait, hold on. Doing a new thing here. My name is Well Hydrated George Feis.
Okay, that's good to know. And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash. And today we are playing the Big Pro Wrestling. George, you're hydrated? What are you drinking over there?
So here's the new thing that we're doing. Because I can't decide on a nickname or a new moniker, because you have the man they call Johnny Clash, and that's really good. And I wish I had something like that, but I don't. So the new thing is every Wednesday, when I stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GameMarksPod, we're going to come up with whatever my nickname for the following week's episode is.
Okay.
So last week, we had this little channel point donation where if you spend your points, it forces me to like drink water. You can make me stretch. I can put on my a voice changer and I could sound like T-Pain. There's like a bunch of like fun things that you could do with it. But so many people came in and we're hanging out, and everyone just redeemed hydrate. So I drank like 64 ounces of water in the span of like, I don't know, a half hour.
Well, what are you drinking now? I see you got a little
right
bottle
now, as we're recording, I am drinking a Kentucky Vanilla Barrel Cream Ale, and it's just delightful.
That sounds
What
lovely.
about you, Johnny?
What
are you drinking?
I got a Lagunitas Something Easy Ale, you know? But as always, we love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen, and join the conversation on social media at GameMarksPod. So we already did our little, hey, how you doing? So how you doing, George? Well, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How you feeling about last week's game?
Last week's game was an interesting one. Thunder Pro Wrestling Retsuden, a very distant ancestor of Fire Pro Wrestling, kind of what we've seen the Fire Pro games become today, and I'm sticking with my future endeavor. What about you?
Yeah, I'm sticking with mine. I feel like... See, here's the thing. I feel like we need to make a rule about flip-flopping. Like, we need to say that you get like 1 or 2 flips a year. Because I feel like, we play the games, then we record our episode, and then like I don't know about you, but I keep playing the games afterwards just because, sometimes they're extra fun. Sometimes they're just, I want to keep going and see if I'm, really, really sticking with my rating. But I feel like the more that I play the game, sometimes I'm like, I just keep playing them, and then I like them a little bit more, and then maybe I want to flip, but I'm not going to flip.
Yeah, I think I'm not a fan of the flip, and I don't think we should flip. Now, George, we have our theories, but there's something going on here that I'm not a fan of. You're not a fan of. This week, it took it to the next level because that lovely music that you love to tell us that you were in a band with.
John, did you know that I was in a band?
I clearly knew, but also someone else clearly knows because your music was interrupted once again. Do you have any idea what this thing is saying and how we can get rid of it? It's making my blood boil editing this.
Here's my new thing. I now 100%, and I know I touched on it last week, I'm done getting mad at you for this. Because I know that us fighting is I feel like is what the goal is here. Is that it's someone trying to drive a wedge in between us.
We do that anyway.
Trying to I would say there's a big difference between the joking back and forth that you and I have and, someone actually messing with the podcast. And I feel like that's where we're at now, where someone's actually trying to mess with the podcast. And you and I have been talking a lot more off the podcast in regards to what we think is happening. And I really think, if not this week, next week, we really need to start kind of cracking down and maybe following some of those leads that you have. And go from there.
Yeah, I'm going to start reaching out to some people, getting some, I don't want to accuse anyone, but I have a list. I'm going to go through the list. I'm going to see what people say. This is getting very frustrating, and we got to get to the bottom of it.
And not to sound cheesy or corny or anything, but the time is coming where people start to make a list and maybe even check it twice.
All right. Well, anyway, guys,
you just put in the cricket sound effect right after that horrible joke. I was trying to make light of the mood and get us ready for this week's game.
Yeah, totally. All right. So, guys, if you saw, we posted a graphic of all of the Undertaker's costumes and attires from his history in WWE games. Now, listen, it took me 4 hours to compile this list.
I was just going to say, there's no we. That was all you. That was a labor of love, courtesy of Johnny Clash.
I was already done. Someone pointed out I missed Attitude in there, which I was looking at it. I just somehow overlooked putting it actually in the graphic, which annoyed me after because I went to go back and do it, and there was no room to put them in there, so I just put it in the comments, and now I'm upset about it, but appreciate it for what it is. It was just something I thought of, and I wanted to put together to honor the dead man, and we are going to be doing something else to honor the dead man that you will find out about next week. But Gameboree is still going on, and the generosity that you guys have been showing us is
unbelievable,
absolutely unreal. We are only a few weeks in. We're already halfway at the point, I think more than halfway at the point we were at last year, because right now our donations are up to $341 for St. Jude, which is outstanding. And the pot total for Cohen Children's Medical Center is $100 right now, which means 50 goes to the winner, 50 goes to Cohen's Children's Medical Center. So we would like to up that even more. And yeah, we want to give a shout out to one of our listeners he challenged you. You want to tell a story, George? How he challenged you? And
Yeah. So we're gonna kill two birds with one stone here. So every Wednesday on our Twitch channel, I mentioned it earlier, I go live and stream for a couple hours, and always love having people come and hang out and play video games. Sometimes we do viewer games and all that, but it's mainly just an opportunity for us to all hang out. Sometimes you pop in and hang out. It's always fun. It's just talk about stuff. We play video games. It's great. This week, though, was a little bit different because our very good friend of the pod, the Elder Spork, popped in to the Twitch channel and said, "Hey, I'm working for another 90 minutes. If you stream for another 90 minutes, I will make a substantial donation to the Gameboree."
But the thing is, he already made one this week, so that would be his second one.
So that super substantial. So he wanted me to stream until 2 a.m. Eastern time. Now, John likes to joke about this all the time, but to a certain extent, there's some truth behind it. I am not a spring chicken anymore. I need my beauty rest.
He's pulling out weeds from his driveway at 7:30 every morning. So
I'm yelling at kids to get off my lawn. It's rough. Getting old sucks. But it was for the kids, so I could not say no. So we went until a little after 2 a.m. We played Rocket League. We played Among Us. We talked about wrestling. We talked about music. We talked about just random celebrity meet and greets. People were saying that they had met countless musicians and wrestlers and had autographs. It was awesome. If you're not coming and hanging out in our Twitch channel, you're missing something out. you're missing out on something great, because we have the best community, the best listeners. I am forever thankful for our crew, and what we're able to do for Gameboree. This is, me and John say it every year. This is the best thing that we will ever do with this platform.
Yep.
There is nothing better than being able to use our podcast where, two idiots like to yell at eech other about wrestling video games, and we're able to turn that into doing something really great for some pretty amazing and brave kids. So, yeah. Anything else you got to say about Gameboree, Johnny?
No, I mean, just thank Elder Sport, because he challenged you. You accepted the challenge. You texted me saying you got to get on here at 12:30. I was way off in La La Land, fast asleep at that point. I woke up like 9 o'clock the next morning, like, oh.
Wait, because you're also...
Something happened.
Also an old man?
No.
Are you also an old man and you need your beauty rest?
I actually usually stay up later than you, but for some reason, I don't know.
I know.
I was just feeling asleep that night. But anyway, thank you guys. Everyone who's donated, thank you. No matter how big, no matter how small. Thank you to George for staying up till 2 a.m. and being well hydrated the next day. Check out our Discord server. You could find it on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GameMarksPod, or you could find it on GameMarksPod.com/Discord, and you could join our community today. We talk about collectibles, music. We got a meme section, sports, MMA, anything, console gaming, PC gaming. So check that out. But George, is it time for some gaming news?
Oh, this is the best time of year for gaming news. Let's do it. Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
A new Halo Infinite leak claims that Microsoft has 2 spin-off games in development. The leak doesn't mention platforms, but Twitter page Gaming Leaks and Rumors has reported this info. According to the report, the first of these 2 spin-off games is a third installment in the Halo Wars series, which apparently is a resurrection of a game that was once cancelled. According to Gaming Leaks and Rumors, the game was originally in development as a space RTS before getting canned. Now it's back, but as a traditional RTS. The second of these 2 spin-off games will be included under Infinite's platform and will follow Fireteam Osiris during the events of Infinite. So look for these 2 spin-offs coming soon to Microsoft. Now, the multiplayer in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War wouldn't be complete without Nuketown popping up in some form or fashion. After all, the fan-favorite map has appeared in every Black Ops title since the series' inception. The latest version of the map, Nuketown 84, is available now in Black Ops Cold War, and it isn't your daddy's Nuketown. But actually, maybe it is, because the map is set in the 1980s. The point is that this is a different spin on the classic location. Will you be downloading? Check back next week for more gaming news. Nothing like back in the day, cracking open like a Pepsi, some of those like sour straws, and just playing Nuketown all night. Remember when you used to be able to vote on maps in Call of Duty? Those were the days.
Nuketown is the best. There is no... for as long as the Call of Duty series will be around, I think Crash and Nuketown are the 2 most recognized, influential...
Oh, you can't forget Rust.
Rust too. Yeah, like, I just feel like these are always those maps that everyone talks about. Like, so great, so great. Now, as we are recording this, Johnny, it is the biggest shopping day of the year. It is Black Friday. Did you make?
Oh, you're flipping it. Okay.
I'm flipping it. Did you make any Black Friday purchases?
This year, I'm trying to, get out of this apartment, try to maybe, get a house in a few months. So I didn't make any substantial purchases other than the Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, Blood Brothers 2-pack figures. That's about it. But last year was the big debate. Do I want a gaming PC? Do I want a Switch? And I ended up with nothing. And it seems like this year I'm also going to end up with nothing. But what about you?
I remember that conversation where you're like, so I'm going to get one of these two. I'm either going to get a Switch or a gaming PC. And I was like, get the gaming PC. It opens up a whole new world for you. And you're like, yeah, but I really want to play the Switch. And then Black Friday came and went. Christmas came and went.
I did go into GameStop last year and I looked at the Switch and it was like not on sale. I was like, all right, I'm out.
And then I just remember it being January and you were just like, hey, remember when I was going to get a gaming computer?
No.
Yeah. Really dropped the ball on doing that, didn't I?
No, funny story. I actually switched banks for my car payments. I know that's the most adult thing I'll ever say, but I paid like extra and they sent me a check back for like a full payment on my car. So I was like, oh, I could buy a lot of stuff with this, but I did the responsible thing and I bought new tires. So, but it seems like WWE 2K Battlegrounds was on sale for $14.99 and $16.99, depending where you were looking or what you were looking at. Are you still playing Battlegrounds? Because I kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I am. I pick it up every now and then, just because
every now and then.
Turn around. So I pick it up every now and then. I play it. I'm trying to still go through the storyline. I just got to the third section of the storyline. The storyline is deceptively long in this game.
Yeah,
it's deceptively long. But man, there's so many unlockables and everything feels like it's behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And
our friend,
that's my biggest complaint about the game.
Our friend WCW Worldwide just picked up the game and you could read his Twitter thread about it. Yeah, everything, like your creative wrestler is so limited and then it takes forever to actually like up their attributes and their stats that by the time you're done, like you're just going to want to pay for the next one. You don't want to do that for all of them.
Yeah, it's for $14.99, it's a great deal. I sincerely and with all of my being regret paying $60 for this game.
Yeah, same, because we both bought the deluxe.
Yeah,
we did it for the pod.
I did it for the pod. It had to be done. And you know what? It's a part of the collection. I have it now, so it crossed off two check marks there.
All right. But yeah, also, not only No Mercy turned 20 last week, but on November 21st, SmackDown 2 also turned 20. Both games are about to go out to a bar and have a drink in another year.
What a gem. What a gem.
Check that out in our archives because we played that one. We liked that one.
But, circling back to Black Friday shopping, I did make some purchases.
Oh, what you got?
So for the benefit of the pod, your humble host, George Feis, is now the owner of not one, not two,
dishwashers,
not three, but 4 monitors.
That's just a little crazy.
So I will now be running a 4-monitor setup. It will be a tremendous help in terms of the streaming on Twitch, the YouTube content that Johnny and I have planned going into the new year. And so I bought 2 AOC 24 G2 24 gaming monitors. I know all of this is nonsense to you and you have no idea what I'm saying. But they're 144 hertz monitors with 1 millisecond.
You act like I don't know anything.
Refresh rate. Do you know anything of what I just said?
Yes, I looked deeply before buying my monitors, and I have 2 very nice curved Samsung gaming monitors.
Okay, so this is the debate that I got into. Not saying that this is the question of the week, but just a matter of preference. Let me know. If you hear my voice right now, gaming monitors, curved or not curved.
Mm.
I've never owned a curved monitor before, and I feel like it would just throw me off so much, and I feel like it would mess with me designing.
No, it's not that. It's so subtle. It's not that much of a difference. But how are you putting them? Like all 4 in a row, or are you stacking them on top?
So
sideways.
The new monitor, the new monitor setup that I'll have will be a 3 down, 1 up. So I'll have 1 monitor in the center, 2 monitors on each side, and then 1 on top.
Okay. So I only have 2 next to each other, curved. So it kind of makes like I don't know, like a screen around.
Like if you have 3, I feel like with a curved monitor, you need to have more than 1.
Right.
Like you can't have 1 curved monitor because then you don't really get the full feel of it. But like one of my friends has 3 curved gaming monitors, and when he sits down, he's like fully encased in a monitor. Like some of the game, and he has some games that he plays that he stretches across all the screens, and it's nuts. Like he has a driving simulator, like Project Cars or something. His car is in the perfect center of the first monitor, and then everything else is just a peripheral vision. It's so cool looking.
That's cool. Yeah.
But I feel like for certain games that doesn't come in it doesn't make sense. But I also, in an attempt to better the quality of the Twitch streams, I have bought a new graphics card.
All right.
So I made a pretty substantial upgrade. I jumped like 2 generations to something new. The card that I bought came out in January, so we're now living in 2020. I hope the graphics card is better than the year overall. And yeah, with that, I think it's time for us to jump right on over into the question of the week.
Game marks while you sit there, hopefully as uncomfortable as you possibly can be. I want you to listen to me. I want you to digest this because I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I don't hate you, Marks, but the Game Marks podcast have their own pro wrestling tee store. Brace yourself because the Game Marks podcast are now on Pro Wrestling Tees with original designs to let everyone know if you will play it forever or a future endeavor. Head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod and get your tees today. Hey Nick Stapp, how you doing?
All right. So the question of the week is a segment where we go back and forth and ask each other a question, and then we like to propose that question to you, and you let us know your answer on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Last week, it was my question, and I'm going to be honest with you, I got a lot of flack for this question, but it was an interesting thought. How much money would it cost for you to never pick up a video game ever again? And most people said there is no amount, but we did get some answers.
We did. Let's go.
I'm very surprised.
Let's head on over to Instagram first, where prequel to the sequel, who's my friend Chris, said $0 to never play Minecraft. Sold. Casper Stevens says everything's negotiable. Real talk, to never play video games ever again. Cash, suitcase full of money. Why not aim high? 25 million. Forgotten Freshness Gaming. To stop playing all video games? No. To stop playing a specific one? Yes. The amount depends on which game they choose. But no, I think we were saying overall.
Just like you endless Netflix subscription. You can have Hulu. You can have all those things. You just can't pick up a PlayStation or an N64 controller or anything like that ever again.
Sounds terrible. Now, Mr. Bad Idea on Twitter says 375,000. That's oddly specific. Maybe he's looking for a house or something at the moment.
I would say that's the down payment for his mansion.
Ashes in the Snow says, I love games, but I'd quit playing forever for $50K. That would change my life right now. And boy, can I relate to that, but pretty good, everyone is kind of in the same boat. We're all aiming high here to never play a game again.
Yeah.
It's
Now, this week, Johnny, it is your turn to ask the question.
Okay, so first of all, I have to preface this. This has nothing to do, it kind of has something to do with my question. But a while ago, I asked you, has a game ever made you sad or cry? I chose when Dom's wife died in Gears of War, but I have to say, I sent this to our Discord chat. I finally 100%ed Spider-Man this week. It only took me 2 weeks. I was very proud, but I
So
also
proud
just
of
got
you.
really into the game, and it was a very good game. But the ending,
It's addicting. It's awesome.
the ending got me with Aunt May and the part with Dr. Octavius when
Spoiler?
they're...
Spoiler alert?
No, the game's 2 years old. There's no spoiler alert. Dr. Octavius, you guys are hanging off the side of that building, and they're having like their little heart-to-heart. And then the whole Aunt May section, it got me. It got me a little. I was sitting at my computer like, oh no. But, all right, so my question. And I'm going to give you an example, which will be my answer as well, so you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Are there any games that you played maybe as a kid, maybe on an older console, that you would like to see made into like a darker, realistic, modern version? So I'm going to say like the Arkham series is to what Batman used to be on like NES. Like you know, pew, 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 pew. And now we have the Arkham series.
Now Arkham series, yeah.
So I would want, rather than like the Ninja Turtle arcade game or the Ninja Turtle NES game, I want like a dark, like realistic, like you're in the sewer, you're getting stabbed by ninjas and you have to fight back, like a realistic, like Leonardo looking all depressed because Raphael's in the bathtub or whatever the hell that was from the first movie. Like I want realistic Ninja Turtles, like a darker version of it, like a real RPG where you have an open world New York City like Spider-Man.
Huh. That is an interesting question. So the first thing that comes to mind, but I think it may have already happened, because I know that there are newer versions of it, but I don't know if it's dark and gritty. So, you know what Kid Icarus is?
I've heard of it, but I'm not really too... I think we've mentioned it on here.
You know Pit from Super Smash Brothers?
Yes.
Yeah, Pit is the main character of Kid Icarus.
Okay.
It's his original Nintendo title. Now,
oh yeah, I know what this is.
Besides that theme music being stuck in my head forever, I feel like that in like a gritty, dark. I almost want to say. I'm trying to think of what I could compare it to. I don't want to say Arkham. But like maybe like a God of War kind of,
like something like that.
It's a mythology style game. So maybe if you get like that kind of like camera, but because you have to shoot arrows and stuff, maybe it's like a Gears. It's like the God of War, art style, but like a Gears gameplay where it's like that over the shoulder shooter and stuff like that. And you get like power ups for your arrow and stuff. That to me that would be an interesting translation, because there are Pit games now, and newer Kid Icarus titles, but for me, I think that's going to be my answer, like a real dark, gritty version.
All right, I like it. And as usual, we turn to you guys. What game would you want to see made into a darker, gritty, modern version? And George, with that, I'm ready to take the plunge. Are you ready to take the plunge?
I mean, it's a little cold outside, but yeah, let's do it. Let's take that deep dive.
What's up, Game Marks Podcast? This is Danny Tancredi, and I'm here with my brother Johnny Tancredi, and together we are the Caught Looking Podcast. Each week we bring to you the latest news and reviews on all things baseball collectibles. From baseball cards and memorabilia to bobbleheads and stadium giveaways, each episode will discuss the newest products to hit the shelves of your local card store and your favorite ballparks around the country. Be sure to be following us on Instagram at the Caught Looking Podcast and on Twitter at CaughtLookingBB. New episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to tune in wherever great podcasts like this one are available. The Caught Looking Podcast. Don't get caught looking, start collecting.
All right, so before we get into this deep dive, I think we got to tell everybody, right, Johnny? This is what we said we wanted to do.
Yep.
We want to let everyone know that they need to listen to the Tag Team Wrestling episode of the Game Marks Podcast first, because this is the arcade port of Tag Team Wrestling. There are subtle differences, but the NES and American arcade version is Tag Team Wrestling. The Famicom and Japanese release is the Big Pro Wrestling. So we just figured we would throw that out there, let everyone know that they have to go listen, or should go listen, to the Tag Team Wrestling episode first, available in our archives. And now, with that, The Big Pro Wrestling, released December 1983 for the Apple II, Arcade, Commodore 64, IBM PC, and NES/Famicom. Developed by Technos Japan, published by Data East.
All right, so I want to start by saying that we want you guys to listen to the Tag Team Wrestling episode because the moves, the gameplay, it's all identical. We don't want to bore you guys with that again. The ratings, everything's going to be the same here because it is technically the same game, even though it's not the same game. There are still a few little facts, a little nitpicks here and there that we're going to bring to you that weren't in Tag Team Wrestling.
Now, the main difference that you're going to notice here is the presentation. Obviously, this being an arcade title, the screen aspect ratio is a vertical one. But, like Johnny just said, the gameplay is the same. The moves are the same. So, in this game, you play two identical wrestlers with black hair, orange trunks, and brown boots that are named Sonny and Terry.
Oh, Terry, brother.
Now, you have to defeat two masked wrestlers known as the Heel Team. One of them is a skinny wrestler with an orange mask and boots and white trunks, and the other is a heavier set gentleman with a black mask, tights, and white boots.
Remnants of Andre the Giant there.
Yeah. I just want to say, the first thing that jumps out when you play this game, the sound effects are just... Yeah, oof is right. It is something else.
When we were playing, I was just trying to picture myself in like an arcade or like a fun zone or somewhere like with a game making those noises. I would try to step away. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that. But then probably,
I mean, if every game's making
that's what I'm saying. Probably every game was making those noises back then.
Yeah. Whew. I mean, neither one of us are born when this game comes out. So.
You sure? All right, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. The batteries in my hearing aid must be out. Hold on. All right. Well, so like we said, your character, you as the player, you have to beat the heel teams continuously in order to win trophies and keep your streak of gameplay going. And after the 10th match, your team is designated as the world champions. And you keep playing in order to extend your title reign. And obviously, if you lose by either a count out, which happened to me more times than I care to admit, I gotta say, this game has perfected the strategy that we were talking about last week, Johnny.
My strategy, yeah.
They will throw you out of the ring, and they will beat you senseless until 18 and a half. Climb in, and you'll get counted out. Unbelievable.
So the part that bothers me here, after we just played this game is not easy. This is very hard. I don't think we got close to winning a round other than this whole little count out trick. But playing like 10 of these in a row and winning, you have to spend hours at this arcade. Maybe we're just in a different world now where we're playing better games and playing an older game like this, we just can't get the mechanics down. Maybe we need a joystick and some buttons in front of us, which I wouldn't mind trying that way. But I don't know. This is just not an easy game. And then once you win the championship, you have to maintain the championship. I'm going to walk away at that point and go play something better.
Well, I think the main goal of these types of games from this era was to get people to that screen where you can have your championship. And then once you have it, then maybe you feel a little more, you're okay with walking away. You're okay with letting the game because you know that you won.
They wanted your damn coins and that's all they wanted.
I mean, it's the whole point of the arcade. I gotta say, I miss arcades.
I do too. I was thinking about that the other day, how my grandpa used to go to this like resort every year and they had this like sick arcade. So when I would go there with him, like I would play like Royal Rumble would be there, like the Dreamcast one. Where it would be like
arcades are so good.
Even just bowling, like skee ball. Like it's just so different now. Like I would love to go there and just play those games again, like Big Deer Hunter and all that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you and I are fortunate enough that we live, you know, a stone's throw away from the city, and you know, I don't know if you've ever been to the Chinatown Arcade.
I have not, but I did mention a long time ago I went to the one in Montreal. That was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, so Chinatown Arcade, unfortunately, is no longer there. It is across the street from the world famous Wo Hop Chinese restaurant, which if you haven't been there and you live in, you know, if you live close enough to New York, you have to go there. It is amazing. But you know, when I was younger, you know, when myself and my friends all started getting our first cars, legends were told about how amazing this arcade was, and you would go there and they had, Johnny, when I say this, I mean this. They had everything. They literally had a game for every person there. You wanted Pac-Man or Galaga? Great. They had like that 6-in-1 where it's like Pac-Man, Galaga, Centipede, Asteroids, like all in one. They literally had everything.
Oh man, we need to open our own, like Game Marks Arcade.
The Game Marks Arcade.
That'd be great.
I like that.
Imagine.
I like that. Maybe that's an event that we can put on when the world is back to normal. We'll rent out a space. We'll rent out Creator Pro, and we'll.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If there wasn't a pandemic right now for Gameboree this year, I was thinking about trying to do a little fundraiser in an open area where we could have some consoles and some arcades. But we're in a different time now.
And one match, one wrestling match where it's Johnny Clash versus George Feis, and he just beats my ass.
Yeah, this is what I've waited all year for.
That's the massive blow off to the year-long storyline that we've been telling.
Oh man. All right, with that, let's get into the artwork. I want to get into the arena, the crowd, the characters. So there's no game cover per se, but there's game art. I don't like the big pro wrestling logo, I'll say that, but it's maybe a little better than the tag team wrestling logo. I don't know.
It reminds me of something. Is it He-Man?
Yeah.
Is it the old WWE logo where it would like come in from space and then it had the trail?
Action
and
League
the trail
Now
would
from
meet
Kablam.
back up with it. Action League Now, that's good too.
Yeah, I don't know, but it shows a picture of your team and the heel team. It also has the man in the turban that when we played tag team wrestling, we speculated who it was, and it's just an odd man, a spectator that runs in and he just attacks you and then he leaves. And it's speculated that he is the heel team's manager. And he is actually on the cover for this game. So that's kind of cool to know that he is there. It also shows a few other wrestlers that you don't really see during this game. There's like an army fighter that looks like he's holding a thermite. Then there's another wrestler who doesn't look human and he's wearing a lucha mask. Then there's a Viking. Might be Ivar. Then there's a very pink man with a fork. Abdullah much? Then a Dracula and a cowboy. And the cowboy looks least like a wrestler out of anyone here.
He looks scared, honestly. The cowboy is the only one that's not looking into the camera. And he looks like he's like, I shouldn't be here right now. I don't belong. I'm in the wrong video game right now.
No. So let's talk about when you load up this game. Because you get a nice like skyline view. You have like
that may be the coolest part of the whole game.
Outside billboard with the arena, and it says the big pro wrestling, and then it says today's main event sold out. And then from there you go into your load screen, you choose your team, blah blah blah. And let's get into what the game actually looks like, because I don't think for 1983 this is that bad.
No, I mean, especially considering it's an arcade title and that aspect ratio that you're used to playing on like your CRT television at home. This is very different, but it's interesting. It's cool. The crowd is very, very animated. They move around a ton.
Yep.
Some of the movements and the animations for the sprites are a little weird, and I kind of wish that they were a little different, but I understand it's part of the aesthetic of like the scary heel team are gonna walk scarily, I guess.
They look like monsters, like coming out of a closet, like I'm the boogeyman.
Yeah, but you've got cameramen, you've got a ring mat. I'm assuming that's what that is. That orange ring around the mat was supposed to be
an outside mat. But even the ring announcer with the two girls standing next to him, and then the babyface team throws their jackets up into the air while the heel team, they're whispering to each other like a little game plan. I think that's all really cool animations. Like, that's what made a game like this successful back then. But then when you go out of the ring, when you make your entrance and when you get tossed out of the ring, the camera changes dimension, and now you're looking at it from a side view. And I think that looks really cool too. It shows more of the crowd from like the back of their heads. But it just gives the game like more depth.
And this same angle is zoomed in when you fight outside the ring. It's that same angle. And every now and then, similar to tag team wrestling.
Sorry.
When you go to that side angle view of the ring, I'm speechless. Like, where's the? You got to go on the Masked Wrestler now. You every now and then, very similar to tag team wrestling, you get that ring bell that randomly pops up outside and deals a lot of damage.
Yeah. So one thing about this whole arena presentation, from when you're looking on the outside in the beginning, it looks like this massive, like Tokyo Dome arena. But inside, like when you look at that other view, it actually only looks like a small, like, indie arena with just a lot of people in it.
Yeah, I cannot stress this enough. The crowd doesn't look great. The crowd is in line with the rest of the graphics for the game, but they move the entire match. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't stop for a second. They are on 100 from the start to the finish of the match. It's awesome. I'm a big fan of it. The main difference that I noticed between this and tag team wrestling is the winner team. Is the winning screen once you win.
Oh, the winning screen's actually hilarious.
Yeah, so depending on the finish, each outcome has different animations. You winning, the heel team winning, or if it's a draw. I think the draw obviously is the best part of it because your characters kind of double noggin knock the opposing heel team, which, you know, in an 8-bit graphic format is pretty freaking hilarious to watch. But I think it's time now that we talk about an aspect in arcade games. You know, we've done a couple, but very rarely do we get to do this. So I'm very excited to talk about the graphics of an actual arcade cabinet, because this cabinet follows the same color structure as the tag team wrestling cabinet, and boy, is that a very, very colorful cabinet. It is I would say, full waist wrap from, you know, where your waist would be, just above the insert for the coins. You have some lovely red, white, and blue graphics with the wrestlers in the stars. You have the lovely head banner that is on brand with the arcade, with the rest of the graphics for the cabinet. It's a very, very colorful cabinet.
It's nice. It's really nice. Very well decorated. Like, just... Oh, okay. I was about to say something that you...
Don't. I know what you're going to say. Use the word eye-catching.
It's eye-catching.
Don't use the P word.
It pops.
Don't use... I hate it.
We have this discussion all the time as graphic designers. People come to us and say, hey, can you make these words pop? Can you make this design pop?
I want the logo to pop. Nope. Skin crawls. Hate it.
Skin crawls. Yeah, I agree.
But I think it's time, Johnny. Are you ready for a little Did You Know? Did you know that one of the main characters from this game, Sunny, later appears as a supporting character in Double Dragon 3, The Rosetta Stone?
Did you know Strong Bad is a fictional character from the Homestar Runner series of animated Flash web cartoons inspired by the Strong Bads from the video game, Tag Team Wrestling, and The Big Pro Wrestling?
Just makes me want to listen to Trogdor.
So that's something we overlooked when we did the tag team wrestling episode. So we had to include it here. But the character Strong Bad on Homestar Runner, he resembles, the team Strong Bad from tag team wrestling. Same mask, same moves and stuff. It's kind of funny.
Homestarrunner.net. It's .com. All right. And I think it is now time, Johnny. Let's go through some R&R. Play that lovely, relaxing music. Let's do some ratings and reviews.
All right. So we already spoke of these in the tag team wrestling episode, but I'm going to regurgitate them for your viewing pleasure. So Game FAQ user rating gives this a 2.22 out of 5. Honest Gamers gives this a 1.5 out of 5. Bleacher Report ranked this game 8 out of 10 in top NES wrestling games, and GameSpot user rating gives this a 5.6 out of 10, but these aren't the important ratings here. I think the most important rating is our rating, because it's now time to rate the games.
The game!
All right, Georgie. So, tag team wrestling, we both hit that big old thumbs down and Future endeavored the crap out of it. How do you think the big pro wrestling held up?
Okay. So here's my struggle.
It's always a struggle.
It's fun. But I think it's fun because it's an arcade game. It's incredibly difficult. It is incredibly challenging to play. But there is a certain charm to the graphics, the gameplay, the overall presentation, which actually, surprising to even myself, makes me, by just a small margin, I think I'm going to play it forever.
Oh, all right.
And Johnny Clash, are you going to play it forever or future endeavor?
Yeah, I'm sticking with future endeavor in this one. There was nothing that would keep me going back to this game.
You're fired!
All right. Well,
this is the first time we disagreed since Fire Pro Wrestling Z.
wow.
Are we going to disagree on next week's game? Because we already announced what it is.
I'm already checked out for next week's episode.
You already cement?
I'm ready. Oh, God.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do it this week. Get your cement mixers ready. Because next week on the podcast, we're going to take out our wheelbarrows. We're going to dump that cement concrete mix in there. We're going to stir it up real nice, and we will be playing. Can I make it any more creepier? We will be playing.
Waiting to see if you can.
We will be playing Rumble Roses XX for the Xbox 360.
A lot of X's that just happened.
Well, we're going to see how many there are next week. George is dreading this episode. I cannot wait. Take us home, George, because then we're 1 second closer to playing Rumble Roses XX.
I just need to take a shower from you introing the game. My cement is still dusty from that.
Okay. Okay.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tee store at prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. It is currently the best way besides listening to support the podcast. And be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. Guys, I hope you all had a lovely, lovely Thanksgiving. As always, be safe, wash your hands, social distance, keep playing those games. Come hang out every Wednesday. I usually stream until midnight Eastern time. Come hang out, it's a great time. Johnny, do your thing.
cement mixers, it's game over.
Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast, how can I give more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.